Intermediate Planning Webinar. My name is Dan Bahe, and I am one of the Precision Business Planning Specialists here at AgSolver. And in this webinar today, we're going to be reviewing the payback of drying soybeans. And running through our introduction and our agenda for today, we're going to select a field where there was a reduced yield and profit due to too dry of soybeans at 8 or 9% moisture. And we're going to select and work scenarios and zones representing standard associations and associated cost. And then we'll do a side-by-side comparison of drying down soybeans to 13% compared to leaving them in the field and picking them at 8 or 9%. And then we'll follow up with any questions anyone might have regarding this scenario. And before we hop into Profit Zone Manager, I want to let you know that we are in Q&A. So if you do have any questions, please type your question in the chat box below and we'll answer it throughout the webinar. You can see my contact information. My email is djba@agsolver.com. Along with, you can email our support team at support@agsolver.com. And then below is my cell phone if you want to give me a call. So now we'll hop into the application. I'm going to minimize that chat window. So this is 2015 in review. So this is the Davis Home Farm. This was the very first field that we started picking soybeans on last year. When we started, the soybeans were right around 15 to 16%. We picked off the end rows and we decided, it's better to wait and to let these soybeans dry down. We'll come back mid to late October and harvest these soybeans. And when we did that, we switched over to corn, got about the corn done, came back to soybeans. And when we started again on this field, we were at right around 8 to 9% moisture. We had tremendous amount of head loss along with having a dock when we sold to the local co-op due to the too dry of soybeans. Regarding our marketing plan, we sell 100% of our soybeans in the fall, so we don't carry any over. So everything's hauled directly from the field to the co-op to be sold or down to Cedar Rapids. And to review the business performance, on this about 113 acre field, the average yield was right around 54 bushel. We thought that was kind of low due to the head loss. We were really expecting right around and anticipating right around 60 bushels per acre. You can see our profit there at -$7, return on investment -1.5%, almost breaking even on this field. Acreage opportunity ratio was at 51%. You can see our break-even commodity price at $9.39 soybeans. And then the overall total field profit on this 113 acre field, we lost $837. So now going into 2016, and we have a substantial acreage amount of soybeans that need to be harvested. And so that's when we decided to pull the trigger and start running scenarios based off of harvesting soybeans at 15-16%, then drying them down to 13%, and then selling that to the local co-op or elevator. And on our drying side, we have an old bin dryer with a stir rater in it, and then we also have another bin that has a super low temp dryer. So we have the opportunity to throw heat on the soybeans, and all of this equipment has been added on, or it's something that we've already had within our arsenal of tools that we can use. So we're going to create a second scenario based off of 2015 actual production soybeans. What we'll do, we'll go ahead and click on the green copy scenario button up at the top underneath the field name, Davis Home. Select that. Take our drop down menu and then select actual production soybeans 2015. And then what we'll do, harvesting at 15%. So in what we're doing, we're creating a carbon copy of that actual production, 2015 soybean production, and then renaming that in-bin drying harvesting at 15%. What we will do then is actually create a new zone where we have our soybean acreage. And then in this field, we took the south corner out of production, put that into actually oat production. So we'll come and draw all the soybean acreage that we have for this field. And to do that, we click on the green add zone. Our drawing tools pop up. We select the polygon drawing tool and then just start placing points within this field. Really simple, easy to use drawing tools. I'm just going to outline we have crop production. And connecting our last point to our first point, that pulls up that crop zone. And for this, we're going to call this zone dry down of soybeans. And we've ran the cost analysis and have done background research and talked to our local local elevator and co-op, and they said, you know, by picking soybeans, bring them in at 8 or 9% moisture, you have about 5% yield loss compared if you harvest them at 13% or 12%. So what we're going to do in this situation is actually increase overall target zone by 5%. Target yield by 5%. So we're doing that. We're selling more moisture in the crop. So then we'll come down to our drying, handling, and hauling costs. So the elevator and co-op, they will actually pick the soybeans up out of the field or pick them up at bin site. So our drying cost for soybeans is at $2.27, and how we factored this, for us, we're just paying for LP. We had the bin paid off, the heater paid off. We're just paying for a basic cost of LP to dry the soybeans down. How we figured that cost is we took $750 for what we paid for LP and then divided that by 330 acres of soybeans on dad's side. So we'll enter in that cost, and what I will do, I'm gonna actually add a third. So drying cost, $2.27. And we're going to just increase yield by harvesting the soybeans at 15-16% moisture, and then including an added drying cost on a per acre base, $2.27 an acre. And then we're going to select save. So now, after we've created this zone and this scenario, now it's time to compare our 2015 scenario where we sold soybeans at 8 or 9% moisture compared to selling the soybeans at 13% moisture with the added cost of drying the soybeans down 2% moisture. So we'll come up to the options drop down menu right beside the Davis Field home name. Select that, click on compare scenarios, On the left-hand side, we'll have our 2015, where we had 8 or 9% soybeans compared to where we have 12 or 13% soybeans on the right-hand side. And you can see with that difference, it took us a profit loss to actually a profit now, where we really only increased the overall field average yield by about 2 bushel or 5%. But you can see we took our profit loss from a negative $7 to a positive $14. Return on investment went from negative 1.5% to a positive almost 3%. And also increased our overall total field profit by about $800. And that's also including the added costs that we have. So this is what really struck home for us. And then once we get later in the fall and soybeans start drying down, we're not going to need to utilize and dry down soybeans. So for us, it just made sense. And we didn't want to start on corn and then have to be flip-flopping every week trying to pick soybeans and corn at the same time. So if we thought if we just front load all of our soybeans and the soybeans are done, and then once the second or third week of October hits, we can just focus in on corn production and harvest. So simple scenario on how to do a cost analysis of drying down soybeans within Profit Zone Manager. We can print this page as a one-page handout. But now I'd like to open up the floor for any questions anyone might have regarding this scenario. So while we wait for questions, I do want to mention that this webinar will be posted on our Ag Solver YouTube channel once it is completed. And so you can go back, review this scenario, and then please feel free to give me a call if you want to schedule a one-on-one webinar or one-on-one meeting to create these very own scenarios within your enterprise on your fields with your budget information. So it looks like there is more questions. So I want to thank you for watching our October 5th intermediate planning webinar. Thank you. And if you're in the fields, please be safe. Goodbye.